We are viewing the brain after the skull cap has been removed, the calvarium, and what we're seeing is relatively intact brain in this person who's had a previous right-sided brain stroke, left side brain stroke with aphasia and right-sided weakness. So I presume that there's going to be either a cortical or brainstem in stroke. I presume it's going to be cortical based on the aphasia, not able to interpret or make speech. No, she was able to interpret speech, but not make speech. So we'll see what that is about once we get the brain out. But you can look at it from an external surface, look fairly intact. But again, once we get the brain out, we'll be able to say a lot more. So we're viewing the right brain here, the left brain here. And on my first section, you remember we take the section starting, our first cut is right at the landmark of the mammary bodies. So we took a section through there, and immediately we saw this softening right here, a massive area of softening in the, let me see if I can come out, tap on that so we can get in focus, there we go, of the left brain. Massive stroke here, and I presume it's going to get even worse as we continue to section it. But you can see that there's a slight shift to the right, so there must have been some fluid accumulation, obviously, when you have a stroke like this. So I think this was occlusive stroke, and we'll further study this area by sectioning more closely. This is the, go out. This is the front part of the brain. You see the olfactory, and this is the posterior aspect. So we're going to section even more and see how far that stroke goes. But that's a massive area of stroke, softening of the area. But we know she had a stroke, and we just kind of defining the area here. If I can go out just to show you that. But we'll do further sectioning. But the ventricles don't look as bad, but you can see that there's a slight shift even in the ventricle. The second ventricle's there, the lateral ventricles rather. So we'll see what all that is about. So again, we've sectioned it. Remember, we were in this area here, and you can see as we continue to go towards the posterior, there are even more evidence of stroke. It's really massive towards the left posterior parietal area, more. And as we go towards the first part of the occipital, very massive stroke in the left parietal and frontal brain. So I'm going to now section the anterior aspect of the brain, and I took one more section, and you can see that it's going further back there into the, actually it is into the occipital. So I wonder about blindness, but we have to do clinical correlation with that. But you can see there is massive stroke here, massive stroke, all on the left side here, massive stroke. So now I'm going to section the anterior aspect of the left brain, and wow, this was pretty intense. That was a massive stroke. So just to document, this was a massive left cortical brain stroke, and again, this is the mid portion of the left brain. More stroke here, even with dropout of a brain proper. And even here, we're almost approaching the frontal lobe. And this stroke does go all the way up to the left frontal lobe. And that would have explained why she couldn't have the ability to speak. But this was massive, all the way up to the front. This is the anterior brain, and we're in the front, a good proper of the frontal lobe, and it's still showing stroke. Thank you. That concludes the dictation.